Hello, welcome to Meaningful Careers, the hub of information, insights, and educative content as far as careers are concerned. On this platform, I share information relevant to you, whether you are a student, a job seeker, an employee, an employer, or a business. Or you are just somebody who is keen and passionate about their career. I share information based on my own experience, having worked across market leaders across Africa and Europe. So I share insights from an insider perspective. The next episode is about outstanding performance during an interview, which is the ultimate thing, isn't it? Everybody wants to perform, to bring their A game to the interview. So that's what the next episode is all about. I'm going to particularly be looking at how do you create or come up with structured responses when you're thinking on your feet during an interview, so that you're just not caught offside or caught unaware. So I hope you enjoy the episode. But if you have any questions, as always, reach out. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next content.
Meaningful careers now. Take the time to take your destiny in your hands now. With meaningful careers.
Welcome back. Today we are talking about performance, which is the most important thing in the interview. How to think clearly, how to answer confidently, and how to impress the interviewers using simple models. Did you know that many models that we have used at school or in your qualifications can also be very helpful during an interview performance? So this is just to help you master the performance during the interview if ever you are put in a tight spot. Models will help you to stay calm, and they will help give structure to any response that you give, because you appear well thought through and well measured and figured. So that's very important, right? They make you sound strategic. They help you to think on your feet. And the last thing you want during an interview is to get stuck, freeze, like a deer in headlights. No, you want to just give that right impression that, look, I'm the person for the job. So here is the thing. The first model, let's start with the STAR. The STAR is about S is for the situation. If you are asked in a behavioral question to tell us of a scenario, it's the situation. You are describing the situation to set the scene, the circumstances, what was happening when this example happened. You give people the context so that they understand what you're on about. And the task, what was your task, or rather what was your responsibility in the situation that you have just given us? You need to articulate. You then talk through, okay, this was my task. I was supposed to be doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as an example. Then the action is the A. So we said situation, task, action. That's A. Action is what did you do? You need to balance between what you did as an individual and what you did towards the team. So A is for the action. It needs to clearly come out, what did you do as an individual? Then the result is the most important thing at the end of it all. After the actions that you said you did, we need to know what was the result and what was the impact of the result. Did it impact an individual, a team, the organization, the industry, the country, the world? That needs to come out as well. Right, so remember to use this for behavioral questions. Keep it tight, keep it relevant, and keep it achievement focused so that you don't lose track when you are answering such questions, right? So that's the first model that you can use. The second model is an interesting one, is the PESTLE one. PESTLE is P is for political, E is for economic, S is for social, T is for technology, L is for legal, E is the environment. Right, many times we have been given these models to use them at school and anything, but whenever you are faced with a situation to try and do an external environment analysis, this is your go-to model. It just helps you, your thinking. You think, oh, politically, what are the implications? What does it mean? Okay, economically, where is the economy? Right? What are the implications? Socially, what is the culture, the social cultural elements to any question that you might have faced? Then technologically, what is the technology, whether the systems in the company or not in the company, because this is more external, the systems in the external environment, I would say. Legally, what are the legal implications of any question or situation? Environmental, what does the environmentalist say about this? Okay, this just helps you to show that you understand the bigger picture. So PESTLE is not for exam preparation purposes, it's for real meaningful conversations, especially when you are put on the spot and you want to demonstrate a clear understanding of the environment. Then if it's about the internal bits, so remember we said the star is for your own history or experience or story. PESTLE is just for the external environment. Then if you want to demonstrate that you think through these things and you have mastered the art of strategic thinking, you can use, there is what's called the McKinsey 7 S's model. It's very much helpful and handy for leadership questions, or if you want to just explore and expand and think through and think outside the box as far as the internal environment is concerned. So this one has got 7 S's. So the first one is for the strategy, then we've got the structure, the systems, the shared values, the skills, the staff, and the style. This is very powerful, especially for senior roles, where you are saying, okay, if you're asked about the internal situation, how would you handle this internally, etc., you consider, okay, is this a strategic thing? Do we need to think about the strategy? Right? Do we need to think about the structure in terms of our organization or different teams? Or if it's about systems, do we need to think about the platforms, the channels, the systems that we already have internally? If it's about shared values, do we need to revise or do we need to think about the values? If it's about the skills, what does it mean in terms of the current skills, or do we want to upskill our employees, or is it a skills gap? It helps you do that analysis internally and offer any insightful kind of recommendations during an interview. Then the staff, this is about the staff, the organization, the employees, right? Then the style, how you are leading the culture within the organization. Think through this when you are pressed and asked about, okay, internal affairs or internal issues or internal considerations. 7 S's is the go-to model for you because it's got a lot of things to help start your thinking, right? And it's very powerful, especially for senior roles. Then we also have the SWOT. Again, it's useful, yes, for case studies, but it's not always an academic thing to use, isn't it? It helps you just to think and align and articulate your thinking. Where S is for your strengths. If you are looking at the organization or this internal situation that you're faced with, we are analyzing this. Okay, what are our strengths in this bit? If we have weaknesses, what are the weaknesses? How do we minimize them? If we are the O, that's the opportunities. How do we maximize the opportunities? The threats, how do we then mitigate any threats? So S is for the strengths, W for the weaknesses, O for the opportunities, threats, that's the last T. Right, so this helps you break down any scenario logically. You appear as if you know what you're saying. When you use models, you stop guessing and you start articulating. You start impressing. Right, so next we are going to do a bonus episode on the myths, the tips and things you didn't know that you are allowed to do in the interview. So stay tuned for the next episode.
Meaningful carriers now. Take the time to take your destiny in your hands now. With meaningful carriers.